Early in the year 1865, there died at Bristol a female of considerable personal attractions, whose early history was amusing enough, yet took a strong hold upon credulous persons half a century since. She pretended to be a native of Javasu in the Indian Ocean, and to have been carried off by pirates, by whom she had been sold to the captain of a brig. Her first appearance was in the spring of 1817 at Almondsbury in Gloucestershire. Having been ill-used when on board the ship, she had jumped overboard, she said, swam on shore, and wandered about 6 weeks before she came to Almondsbury. She appears next to have found her way to Bath, and there to have created a sensation in the literary and fashionable circles of Bath and other places, which lasted till it was discovered that the whole affair was a romance, cleverly sustained and acted out by a young and prepossessing girl who sought to maintain the imposition by the invention of hieroglyphics and characters to represent her native language. In 1817 there was published at Bristol a narrative of this singular imposition, practised upon the benevolence of a lady residing in the vicinity of Bristol by a young woman of the name of Mary Wilcox, alias Baker, alias Baker Stent, alias Caribou, Princess of Javasu, for which work Bird, the Royal Academician, drew 2 portraits. It was ascertained that she was a native of Witheridge in Devonshire, where her father was a cobbler. She appears to have taken flight to America, and in 1824 she returned to England and hired apartments in New Bond Street, where she exhibited herself to the public at the charge of 1 shilling. But she did not attract any great attention. On being deposed from the honours which had been awarded to her, the princess retired into comparatively humble life and married. There was a kind of grim humour in the occupation which she subsequently followed, that of an importer of leeches, but she conducted her operations with much judgment and ability, and carried on her trade with credit to herself and satisfaction to her customers. The quondam princess died leaving a daughter, who, like her mother, is described as very beautiful. There is, it should be added, a very strange story of the princess having got an introduction to Napoleon Bonaparte at St. Helena, of which affair the following account appeared in Felix Farley's Bristol Journal, September the 13th, 1817. A letter from Sir Hudson Lowe, lately received from St. Helena, forms at present the leading topic of conversation in the higher circles. It states that on the day preceding the date of the last dispatches, a large ship was discovered in the offing. The wind was strong from the south-southeast. After several hours tacking, with apparent intention to reach the island, the vessel was observed to bear away for the northwest, and in the course of an hour the boat was seen entering the harbour. It was rowed by a single person. Sir Hudson went alone to the beach, and to his astonishment saw a female of interesting appearance drop the oars and spring to land. She stated that she had sailed from Bristol under the care of some missionary ladies in a vessel called the Robert and Anne, Captain Robinson, destined for Philadelphia. That the vessel being driven out of its course by a tempest, which continued for several successive days, the crew at length perceived land, which the captain recognized to be St. Helena. That she immediately conceived an ardent desire of seeing the man with whose future fortunes she was persuaded her own were mysteriously connected, and her breast swelled with the prospect of contemplating face to face an impostor not equalled on earth since the days of Mohammed. But a change of wind to the south-southeast nearly overset her hopes. Finding the captain resolved to proceed according to his original destination, she watched her opportunity, and springing with a large clasp-knife into a small boat which was slung at the stern, she cut the ropes, dropped safely into the ocean, and rowed away. The wind was too strong from the land to allow of the vessel being brought about to thwart her object. Sir Hudson introduced her to Bonaparte under the name of Caribou. She described herself as Princess of Javasu, and related a tale of extraordinary interest, which seemed in a high degree to delight the captive chief. He embraced her with every demonstration of enthusiastic rapture, and besought Sir Hudson that she might be allowed an apartment in his house, declaring that she alone was an adequate solace in his captivity.